Welcome to SunnySide, where you wanna stay forever, where it's safe and all the kids play together. If something's wrong, we'd all try to make it better. It was all good, no rotten apples or bad folks. We'd all walk to school in groups, laugh and crack jokes. I stayed next to Ann and Steve, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. They had it all, there wasn't nothing that they didn't own. The house and cars, 2 kids at 10 and 7. My mom said everything's fine, but Steven went to heaven. Things never were the same after Steven died. Ann was sad, but Mr. Jones never even cried. Mrs. Jones would always play the song, Breathe Again. She lost her boy Steven and her father-son camping trip 5 years ago when he was 10. My mom told her she was there if she ever need a friend. Mrs. Jones said she felt like a piece of her was missing. She cried so much at night that it even blurred her vision. She got old fast, gray hairs, nervous twitching. The doctor gave her a bunch of pills to help with her condition. It never seemed to help. Everybody needs a chance to grieve and be yourself. Mrs. Jones left, it's sad to see your mother leave. All it did was remind Ann of her brother Steve. She can't stop thinking about the day that her brother died. I guess it's still perfect here on the sunny side.
SunnySide, welcome to SunnySide. 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 SunnySide, welcome to SunnySide.
Mrs. Jones by now had been away for quite some time, Ann and Mr. Jones carried on like life was fine. Me and her didn't talk as much as we did usually. She said her dad wanted to be close the way Steve and him used to be. If life wasn't perfect over there, it was news to me. Mr. Jones drank, that's when things began to fall apart. I heard Ann say she hated him with all her heart. One sunny side day, her dad took off a floral dress, pulled down his shorts, made her give him oral sex. Then he took the ass, he didn't have no morals left. From that day on, he'd be in her room at night. At first she would cry, and fuck yeah, she used to fight. He would crown her, she would pray to God he'd lose his life. Ann ain't wanna get in trouble, she only wanted to do what's right. The only expression you ever see on her face was sad. She'd lock herself in the bathroom to get away from dad. At the door drinking gin from a bottle in a paper bag. He said, don't tell mom, it's our secret, you'll just make her mad. And found her mom's pills and take them when the day was bad. And slit her wrist, it almost killed her, damn the knife was sharp. To Mr. Jones it didn't matter if it was light or dark. He'd use his ring finger to touch her on the private parts. She couldn't understand why she had to go through this alone. Never in a million years did anyone imagine Ann to risk her home. She never walked to school, she got a ride from Mr. Jones. The game of life is hard when you go ahead and change the rules. I couldn't find her one day, probably never came to school. It happened before, so I don't know why I ran home. But I seen an ambulance close a black bag over Ann Jones. They say it's sad he never got to see the day his kids were grown. Now he gotta stay there in that big old house and live alone. Yeah, I guess shit, poor old Mr. Jones.
SunnySide, welcome to SunnySide. 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 SunnySide, welcome to SunnySide.